Hey everybody, Grant Kemp from CreativeCashFlow.com here. Let's talk about creating your LLC. Let's talk about some of the basic business needs of doing this business, right? Because there is more than just the real estate. You do have to consider what you're going to be doing from a structural standpoint to protect your assets, to protect what you're doing. And so let's get into that a little bit. One of the big items that I want to push to you is that you should never do a single transaction with a consumer outside of an LLC, period. Do not do it. Now, the only time that I'm going to say that it's okay to do some business outside of your LLC might be if you're partnering with somebody who is already in the business, another investor, and you're going to be working with them, and it's all going through their LLC, and you're getting paid from that investor. That might be a scenario where, okay, it's going to be you personally doing it. That's cool. But directly to a consumer, directly to your seller, directly to your buyer, never do a single thing without it being in your LLC's name. You have to have that protection, okay? So to get there, you've got to have several things kind of put in place. Simple things. What are you going to call it? What's your website going to be? That kind of stuff. I want to stress from the start that nothing is more important than doing business, okay? What I don't want this video to be about is I don't want this video to be an excuse for you to get really involved in all the minutia of the details that go into this. There's some very simple things that you need to have put in place. What's your name? Getting it filed. Boom. What you don't need is you don't need your fancy website. You don't need your business cards. You don't need anything else. You need your vehicle to protect you, and you need a contract. That's what you need. That being said, let's talk about some of the details of what you need to get done with your LLC creation. First of all, what's your name? What's your name? Choose something that is easy to hear on the phone. This is a mistake that is easy to make from a lot of people, is they come up with some really creative name and then they're like, crap, because every single time you ever tell somebody that name, you've got to spell it, all right? Oh, hey, my name is whatever. My first LLC was a mixture between mine and my wife's name, Grannon. Oh, that's really cute. Aha, Grannon. Her name's Shannon. Grant. Ha, Grannon. Well, every single time I ever told somebody that in LLC, I had to say Grannon. That's Grannon, properties, LLC, blah, 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 blah. And you don't want to do that. It's really annoying. You want something that's short and concise, something that people know how to spell, so you only have to tell it to them once and they can go ahead and spell it. It's also for the fact that, hey, if somebody's going to look you up on a website, there should be words that are easily, spellable by somebody with a 5th grade education, somebody that can just mash letters on a computer and it's going to turn into your company name. That's kind of what you want. Background here, just of the picture. For those of you who don't know, this was this famous posterized picture of Muhammad Ali. That's where the whole threatening, like, what's my name came from, because this guy would not call him Muhammad Ali, would only call him Cassius Clay. So he beat the crap out of him for 15 rounds and kept asking him, what's my name? So there's where the picture comes from. What's my domain? What's my domain? You got to look up and see if that name is available, right? There's several hosting services that you can use for your website. GoDaddy is a really popular one that a lot of people use. I personally refuse to support GoDaddy. My own soapbox here is that whenever the net neutrality stuff started out, with people trying to attack net neutrality and saying, hey, you should have to pay more for certain websites, kind of treating it like cable subscription. You've got to pay more for HBO than you do for Fox 4, that kind of stuff. GoDaddy was one of the big people that were pouring a lot of money into supporting knocking that away and to trying to make it to where we as consumers would have to pay more for certain websites than other websites. And we can get into the argument of just the politics of everything that goes behind that, and that's fine. I see both sides of it, I truly do. However, I don't support that, and I don't want to support a company that supports that if I have the choice. The people that I use are HostGator, HostGator.com. Another big reason I use HostGator is that their support is phenomenal, because I'm an idiot when it comes to all the website stuff. I'm an idiot. I don't know how these domains work. I don't know how to change the files that are in the deep inside of all this kind of stuff. And HostGator does a really good job of having support available for you 24/7. I think they're based out of Austin even. So, the stateside here, I've always gotten great response from any time I needed help with anything on my website. They've been right there ready to go. So as you watch these tutorials and as I'm walking you through how to do certain things like set up an email account, that kind of stuff, as we get further into details of your business, which won't happen in this video, but will be in more of the advanced videos, that's going to be the hosting service that I use, is HostGator.com. But when you go there, you just have to type in whatever your LLC name is, .com and see if it's available, because that's one of the things. You want a .com. You don't want to have to go to .net because everybody initially they want to type .com. So try to find a .com address that's available for you. They're cheap. They're like $10 a year. It's not much to get that. You also need to stay in control, right, of your name. Check your state controller website to see if your name is available, to see that nobody else already has that. If your name has several words in it, you need to start trying to match even 2 of those words together to see if somebody else has an LLC name that has 2 of those words, because a lot of times your state controller will refuse your request to create this LLC if your LLC name is really similar to somebody else that already exists. Okay? What's my name? The story behind the words that are coming with your name. How do you decide what you want your LLC name to be? And this is how I create my LLC names. So the first step is I write down a lot of words that mean what I want my company to stand for, okay? Whatever I want my company to stand for. So for instance, like Texas Pride Lending, whenever I was going on that, I wanted it to be something strong, something that people could understand easily on the phone. It was a words, or all 3 words were words that everybody could spell. So I was writing down words that conveyed strength, right? Conveyed that passion and standing above, right? So I had oak and, whatever, just even writing down the word strong, just stuff like that, right? Well, Texas has a reputation for strength and for, being able to do stuff. And so Texas Pride is another one of those things that really lashed onto that. So write down words that mean what you want your company to stand for. Then you're going to take those words and you're going to throw them into thesaurus. Go to thesaurus.com, throw all those words into it, and start looking at the list of synonyms. And as you find a word that you think kind of sounds cool, take it, put it in your list. Go, have a note file open and just write all these words down, just a list of words. After you found similar words of things that you like that stand for, and you've written down words that you find punchy, words that you think really kind of stand out in a name, then you're going to just start mixing and matching them. And literally, at that point in time, you're looking at a list of 50 words and you're just saying, hey, does this word and this word go together? LLC, does this word and this word go together? And as you find some that kind of sound good together, put them off to the side and then choose from there which ones you like, okay? That's how I go about naming my companies. I've got several entities, and that's how I name my entities whenever I go about it, is I want to make sure that it stands for something that I want it to stand for, that it's punchy, that it's easy for people to remember. When you go to your controller entity search, you need to find that your name is available. Now, first of all, it's spelled comptroller, but you pronounce it controller. I think it's got a French heritage, don't ask me, just so that you sound educated in the future. If you see comptroller, controller is the way that you're going to pronounce that. What you want to do is you just want to Google your state name, entity search. Okay? Most of the time, your controller site will pop up at that point in time. The reason I put entity search is that there's a lot of times there's a controller site that doesn't allow you to search for entities, and what you're looking for is you want to search the entities there. So whatever mix and match you need to do in your state, in Texas it's real easy because it's just Texas entity search and it pops up as the first one. Most states are that way, but some states aren't. And so just find something with controller and an entity search, something that allows you to look through the business names there. Contact your attorney. Once you have found the name that you like and you know it's available from the controller's website and all that kind of stuff, contact your attorney to have them start filing this paperwork for you. Now, let me be very clear. You can file this LLC on your own, but don't. Okay? There's more to it than just the filing that goes into this LLC. When you file for an LLC, to get the proper protections, to get what's called the corporate veil, you've got to have a lot of other paperwork assigned to it as well. You've got to have annual filings that need to be done. You need to have your all the paperwork from the upfront that really defines what your company is about. Without that stuff, your LLC is basically useless to you. Anybody can pierce that corporate veil very easily. So do go to an attorney. Go to somebody that you can trust on that. Ask around. And again, I cannot stress enough the importance of community in this investor world, right? You've got a lot of people that have been there, done that, right around you. And they're going to be at these investor clubs, and they're going to be on the Propelio.com forums. They're going to be places that you can ask the question and get a response. Hey, who should I go to get my filing done in Alabama or Texas or wherever it is that you are watching this from? Just ask around. You also want to get your EIN. The EIN stands for the employer identification number. Now, this is basically your social security number for your LLC. Your LLC is its own entity, right? Legally, it's just like another human. It's got its own rules, its own obligations, and it's got its own social, which is your EIN. A lot of the things that you're going to need to do in the business world require you to have that EIN. Even if you don't have employees, you still need to have that EIN. It's got a 2-digit dash, and then I think like 8 digits comes after that is how your EIN is set up. And to get a bank account, anything like that, you've got to have your EIN. So go to the IRS directly to get this done. Most attorneys aren't going to file for your EIN for you, but the good news is that it's 100% free. You can do it from the IRS website directly. We're going to have a link to that EIN website in the description of this video. Also, when in the download, you can download a file where I'm going to give you links to useful websites like that. I'm also going to give you email addresses for designers, things like that might be helpful for you as you're getting through your LLC creation. So don't forget to download that. Look in the description for these links that you might need. And then it's time to go open your bank account. Now, I highly recommend using community banks. Don't go to Bank of America, don't go to Chase, because they don't give a crap about you. You're just another number at that point in time. What you want is a local community bank, because they're more willing to help, and lending becomes easier when you've built a relationship with your bankers. If I go into my bank right now, every single employee of that bank knows exactly who I am. They know my name, they know what my accounts look like, all that kind of stuff. So if I need something done special, I can go through a lot of, what would have been red tape at a big bank, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's Grant. I know what he's doing. We've had a relationship for a long time. He's doing the right thing. We're not worried about it, right? Use local community banks. That's what you want to go for. Here in Dallas, I really recommend using Texas Brand Bank. That's who I use. And then there's also like Texas Republic Bank is also really good with investors too. So go to these smaller community banks because they understand how our world works. Biggest, most important, scary thing that I can get across to you when creating your LLC and having a banking account and all that kind of stuff is to never commingle funds, okay? A commingling of funds says that you're going to use your business bank account at the bar because you ran out of money in your checking account, but hey, you've got $5,000 in your business account, so you're gonna put a tab on that. Or you're at the grocery store and you forgot your card at home, and so you're going to just buy the groceries on this, you'll reimburse yourself later. That's commingling funds, okay? That's using or using business funds for a personal expense. When you are using your business account, you need it to be for business expenses, period. Now, the IRS defines a business expense as ordinary and necessary. So the rule of thumb here is, if every other person in your field of work is not trying to deduct that same thing, it's probably not ordinary and necessary. So just think about it like that way. If you're trying to buy something, is every other investor that's buying single-family houses trying to buy that same thing and expense it? If not, it's not ordinary and necessary. Now talk to your CPA to decide things like that, but just really, 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 really want to point out your bills, your personal expenses, if it can be construed as a personal expense, is not a business expense. The reason why I'm stressing this so hard is that if you do get into a legal battle and somebody has sued you and they're trying to get to your assets, the whole point of having an LLC is to limit your liability. LLC stands for Limited Liability Corporation, right? That is something that allows you, or company, that is something that allows you to separate yourself away from the liabilities that might arise. Now, in a situation where you have commingled funds, you completely break the corporate veil. Anybody that sues you trying to get to your money, if they go through enough research and they find that you are buying personal stuff with your business expenses, all bets are off and they can get to your personal assets now. You are no longer limiting the liability that you have, right? The limited liability that we have says, hey, I might have $5,000 in this one entity's account. And if you sue me, you can have that $5,000. Big deal, I'm gonna close that company down and we're done. However, if you've done anything that allows them to pierce that corporate veil by spending money out of that account on stuff that you just wanted, that can get them straight to you, and then they can get everything that you own, including your other LLCs, including your assets, including your car, including your house, depending on how far that legal battle goes. So be very careful about that stuff, not to commingle funds. Now we've got wants. We've got things that you want to have, right? One of the wants that you're going to have is a logo. This is not a need. This is not something that you've got to have before you can do business. And too many newer investors get really hung up on the wants and never go out and do the business because they're so involved in like, I got to have the perfect logo and I got to have the perfect business cards. You don't need that. You need everything I just talked about. You don't need a logo to do this business. But you do want to have a logo, right? I use a guy named Sean McCoy. He's an awesome designer. You're going to go back and forth with him a couple of times. He's going to ask you some questions about what you want to see and how you want to see it. You're going to do some revisions, and typically you're going to get out of there for under $100 to get your logo designed. And he always surprises me with how good he does on these kinds of things for me. So s.michael.mccoy@gmail.com is going to get you in touch with him. Just tell him Grant sent you over there, and he'll get you hooked up. The website template and email accounts. Now again, in our more advanced videos, I'm going to walk you through specifically like setting up email accounts, how to put that on your email client, like your phone, both iPhone and Android, or are you on a Mac and you've got Mac Mail, or are you on Windows, you got Outlook, or are you using Thunderbird, that kind of stuff. I'll walk you through all that kind of stuff. But like website templates. Website templates are a nice, really easy way to save you some time and effort. So one of the template companies out there is named OnCarrot or Investor Carrot, and they do a great job of giving you some templates to just, it's really just plug and play, and all the details, all the stuff is already there for you. Now, behind the scenes, because of my relationship with Propelio, because of my relationship with Daniel and knowing what's going on here, I know what they are planning to come out with as far as website templates and that kind of stuff for you from Propelio, and that's going to blow Investor Carrot out of the water. So keep your eyes open for what's going on over there too, because you are going to have some templating options straight out of Propelio that are going to be really stinking cool. And again, I always have to clarify, I'm not getting anything financially from my love for Propelio. I truly just believe in the product. I really do think that you guys have a lot to get from this product because it was created by an investor who's running through all the struggles that you guys have run through and have some offerings there. So forget the fact that I'm in front of all these massive banners that say Propelio. I'm here because I believe in the product, not because I'm getting compensation from any of these things. I'm not doing affiliate links. You'll notice that. I'm not getting compensation. I just really want the best for you guys, and that's what's out there. I want to really stress again, even though I've stressed this once before, nothing is more important than the contract. Nothing is more important than the contract. Nothing is more important than the contract. The most important thing for you to do is to pull the trigger. Start marketing, start looking for deals, and go out and find them. Yes, you need to have an LLC and you want to have everything in place, but you don't need that website. You don't need that logo. You don't need all of that stuff. You need an entity to keep you protected. But then start trying to buy houses. Don't get wrapped up in all the minutia, okay? All that stuff can wait. What can't wait is buying houses. You've got to go after it. I want you to keep watching these videos because we're going to walk through every single item of what you need to know to get this stuff done. I've got a lot of videos on creativecashflow.com that aren't necessarily going to be on Propelio.com, but Propelio.com has an excellent resource for a lot of education, including most of these videos and other videos that are available from other investors who have been there and done that. So check it out. Go to creativecashflow.com. I also do personal mentoring. I can hold your hand and walk you through all of this kind of stuff if that's going to be something that works well for you. So check us out on Facebook, Twitter, all those kinds of social media fun things. Find us, like us, tweet us, reshare us, all that kind of stuff. And keep watching these videos. And until next time, we'll talk to you then.